And here we go. Now, even just the level design, both mechanically and in terms of graphics, is such an improvement over the older Mega Man games. And this game, because remember Mega Man 1, 2, and 3, I pointed out, I think I called them gameplay stanks. Little places where the gameplay just wasn't polished very well, where players would get stuck or get too frustrated or not be able to pass it. And Mega Man 4 is... I can't really think of a spot in Mega Man 4 like that. They really polished this one to a mirror sheen. And it's every bit as creative, in my opinion, as the first 3 Mega Man games. It doesn't lose anything in the transition. There is some disagreement about that. I've met people who think that because it's so polished, they kind of polished the fun out of it, so to speak. And it's a less interesting game to play than 2 or 3. And I don't know, maybe it is, but to me, Mega Man 4 is just every bit as good as Mega Man 3. It's not my favorite, because 3 is my favorite. I have the nostalgia for it. And then 2 is just the masterpiece that is 2. But you also have, in Mega Man 4, your new Mega Buster. This is the new gameplay feature that they put in. And I spoke a little bit about how I didn't like the Mega Buster very much. I mean, it's fine. I don't dislike it. But as a gameplay element, first of all, the sound it uses to charge up overrides one of the sound channels that they use for music. That's bad, because it means you hear this dumb charge-up noise instead of the full extent of the music for a lot of the game. And it's also bad in the sense that now, are players less inclined to experiment with the Robot Master weapons now that they have the Mega Buster that does 3 damage to every boss anyway. It's pretty easy to fight all of the bosses in this game with just the Mega Buster. And I think a lot of people didn't like that very much. They preferred the situation where you used the, where you had to figure out Robot Master weapons or learn the boss fights or whatever. So it kind of offers a third way to play the game. Because I've always held that every Mega Man game, up until 10, which broke the rule because 10 is terrible, but when you get to a Robot Master fight, you can either learn the fight, or you can use the proper weapon. And Mega Man 4 introduces a third way to do things. You can bring the Mega Buster and do this. Now, Toadman, his AI pattern is so borked. Every time you shoot him, he tries to jump over you, and that's all he does. So this is the whole fight. If you give him time, he'll use an unavoidable full-screen rain attack against you. So they balanced him out by giving him one of the most difficult to dodge weapons by giving him the most exploitable AI pattern. And now we get Wherein Frosh. They gave Mega Man kind of this adorable little button nose on this screen, which is endearing, I suppose, but I'm not really sure why they went with that style. Aw man, Rush Marine! I don't care about Rush Marine. This was one of the harder stages for us when we were kids. I know a really efficient path to get through it now, and now that I know how the monsters work, you see, killing the light bulb guys makes it dark, and then killing the firework guys makes it light again. And there's a type of platform in this level that we never understood how they worked very well as kids. But now now that we know how they work, the level is trivial. It's real easy. But as kids, it was always a real sticking point with us. We could never really figure out what we were supposed to do. So this is the other reason the Mega Buster is kind of, again, I don't want to say a bad thing, but it changed the design goals of Mega Man, because now you have a lot more of these big, like, mini-boss creatures. They existed in Mega Man 2 and 3. The cats at Top Man's level, the dogs at Woodman's level, But now, they take up a lot more of the level. You know what? There's like a energy tank or a 1-up down there, but whatever. We don't need it. I'm not going to waste time in Bright Man's level. What am I doing? Can't walk onto this guy. Gotta jump onto him. That's always weird. I don't know why it does that. But a lot of people don't like the mini-bosses in the Mega Man series. And it does really feel like Capcom is able to use more mini-bosses now because the character has a default weapon that is so powerful. So you do start getting a lot more of these really tanky mini-boss situations. But again, that is something that they've been doing in the Mega Man series all along, even going back to the Crusher guys in Mega Man 1. It's just a little more pronounced now. But these platforms here, as soon as you touch them, they move. Even if you touch the bottom of them. So you really want to make sure that your feet are above them. Don't jump off the old platform until it comes to a complete stop. Otherwise, you'll touch the next platform, and it'll start moving, but you won't be above it, ergo you'll drop onto the hole. Now we're going to fight Bright Man, and I'm actually going to damage Bright Man a little bit before I start using Rain Flush. Because at a certain point in his, he's programmed, his AI. He's programmed at certain points in his life bar to use a Time Stopper attack. And you'll always see those points if you use the Rain Flush against him. However, if you damage him a little bit with the Mega Buster first, do 2 points of damage, he never reaches those points in his AI, and he becomes a lot easier to dodge. So that's 2 Robot Masters in a row we've used AI exploits against. That trick, though, we didn't know as kids. I never learned about that until I started watching speedruns of video games, and one of the speedrunners mentioned it. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Makes the Bright Man fight go a little bit easier. You know, it's not as... Because usually what happens is he uses his Time Stopper ability, which is called the Flash Stopper, because that makes sense. Flash Man's ability is called the Time Stopper. So I guess we can't call it the Time Stopper. And since Flash Man had the ability, let's call it the Flash Stopper. I don't know. But anyway. Makes the fight go a little faster, and what he likes to do is use the Flash Stopper in such a way that he'll freeze you in midair and then he'll jump into you, doing a lot of damage. And if you've got the Rain Flush, it's not a big deal because you can outpace him in the damage department. But, like, why worry about it if you don't have to? We're going to skip over this pit here. So we can go to a secret section of Pharaoh Man's level. This is also the first Mega Man game where the levels themselves have multiple directions you can go. They branch off sometimes. That actually wasn't possible in the Mega Man 2 engine, and I believe the Mega Man 3 engine as well. In Mega Man 2, if you look at a whole map of the level, there's only ever one path. So the game has no sense of going up or down or left or right. It has no sense of moving off a particular edge of the screen. When it goes to load the next screen, it always just knows what screen is the next screen. That's why you see screen scrolling glitches in Mega Man 2. How it looks like sometimes people will go, like, glitch themselves off the side of a screen and then show up on a screen that's actually physically above them in the map. That's because for the game, the maps are all one-dimensional. They're very linear. The screens come in a particular row. The game itself doesn't care that the next screen is physically above you. All it knows that the only way for you to go from that one screen to the next is to use a ladder, you know, to go up. Oh, it's going to scroll up to the next screen. But going to any edge of the screen will transition it. So if you manage to get to a screen transition you're not supposed to be able to touch, the game still gives you the next screen. So you'll scroll to the right and get to the screen that you're supposed to climb a ladder to. Mega Man 4 and onward, obviously, new game engine. It actually does matter how the screens are connected, so there are multiple paths through levels. The one in Pharaoh Man's level is kind of important because we're going to freeze him right on the ground there. Let's see if I can outdamage him. See if I can outpace him before my Bright runs out. Because taking the secret path in Pharaoh Man's level gives you the balloon item, which is like an item 1. Because in this game you still get your 3 versions of Rush, Wow, he actually managed to get a pixel ahead. He actually managed to move a little bit. As a kid, I used to be able to kill him without him moving, but the mash just is not real anymore. The mash just is not real, kids. It's just not there no more. But you still get your 3 rush adapters. Rush coil, you start the game with. You get rush jet, and then you get rush marine, which is dumb. But you also get 2 bonus items. You get the balloon, which works like item 1, and then you get the wire, which is a really good show on HBO that you should watch. It's a couple years old at this point. It's actually really old at this point, but it's like 5 or 6 seasons. Really good. Really, really worth watching. Now, I mentioned that Mega Man 3 was the first Let's Play I ever put up on YouTube. But the first actual gameplay video I ever put on YouTube was from Mega Man 4. The first video I ever put on YouTube was from Suikoden 2, and I think it's still up on YouTube. I don't think I ever took it down. I was testing out this little USB capture device that I got that sucked, by the way. Terrible quality. I don't use it anymore, obviously. But I put up a little cutscene from Suikoden 2. But the first gameplay video was me... I could use Toad here, right? I think. But it was me beating Ringman without taking a hit with just the Mega Buster. I don't know if Toad... Is Toad what I want to use here? I feel like I'm using a lot of Toad. I guess that's not too bad. We've got enough Toad left to kill the second hippo in this level. But I feel like it would have been faster if I had to use the Mega Buster there, honestly. So, that was my claim to fame for a little while on YouTube. It was the only gameplay video I had on YouTube for a little while was me beating Ringman with the Mega Buster without taking any damage. Because he has an easy pattern to exploit. He's not a hard boss, but apparently a bunch of people think he's hard. So, I guess we'll try to kill him that way, just for old time's sake, but I haven't practiced. It's been a long time since I tried it out. His weakness is the Pharaoh shot, which we might just end up using on him. And that's it. We're out of Toad. There is a slight detour in this stage. We go up here. We get Eddie! And he just throws you a thing, you know, whatever. It's random what item he gives you, and yes, he can give you energy tanks. So as kids, we always used to farm Eddie. If you don't actually pick up the item he gives you, he doesn't teleport away. If you leave the screen and come back, he'll give you a different item. So you can farm energy tanks in any level where Eddie is. You can farm one energy tank. Guarantee one energy tank, I should say. You can't call infinite Eddies. As soon as Eddie gives you one item, he stops giving you items. Fortunately, I don't do that anymore, because I don't need nearly as many E-tanks now as I used to. Okay. Alright, so we're going to fight Ringman. We're going to do it with the arm cannon. No charge shot, no Mega Buster. Let's see if I can do it without taking a hit. I got about half life, so if he kills me, I'll go back in with Pharaoh shot and I'll just school him. It'll be fine. For some reason, Mega Man 4, it takes a lot longer for boss health to fill up at the start of the fight. Like, a lot longer, and I don't know why. Oh, I got hit. So it's jump over the ring, jump back, jump in between him and his ring as he crosses the room. And then he just repeats that pattern. But if you're too slow or not in the right spacing, threading yourself in between him and his ring can be tricky. Huh. But after I put up that Ringman video, I was like, well, now I have this set up to where I can record gameplay, and I've got this microphone, I should just play Mega Man 3. And that's how my Let's Play channel started. Oh, are you kidding me? And then Ringman's all like, if you're gonna cut it close. Oh, you know what? You know what? Fine, Ringman, fine. Fine. Be just absolutely, entirely the biggest dick. Oh, I slid when I should have jumped. You know what? I can just tank your stupid damage now. No, I can't. What am I doing? No, I can't. He does so much damage. Maybe that's why people think Ringman's such a hard boss, is because his contact damage is so monstrous. Pharaoh Shot has a glitch. Check this out. When you fire, it uses 1 pellet of energy, and then you charge the thing, and when you release the button, it uses even more. But if you're holding the button when you unpause, you get the charge for free. You don't have to use the first pellet. Yeah, screw that guy. And then I put up the Mega Man 3 videos, and they were super speed because I wanted to show off. And then the guy's like, hey, can you fight Ringman at super speed? And then I did. So I've got 2 Ringman videos up somewhere. They're really old. They're from like 2009, 2008, something like that. So in case you were wondering how the Let's Play channel got started, that's how it got started way back in the day. Dustman! Ringman's weapon is actually pretty good. It's this little boomerang thing that goes out and comes back, but there's a lot of monsters that are weak to it throughout the game. I really like this music a lot. It doesn't really sound like it should be Mega Man level music, but it works. In a weird way, it works. Like, it sounds very appropriate. But at the same time, it doesn't sound like chipper or, you know, upbeat like most Mega Man level musics do. Speedrunners make this screen look really easy, but I'm bad, so sorry. Sorry, the only thing I can do good in this game is fight Ringman, and apparently I can't even do that very well. 2 deaths on Ringman. My children are going to be so embarrassed when this video is unearthed in 2057 or whatever. Did I just say 15-7? That's a lot of years. Well, I do intend to live forever, so my kids will be running around in 2015-7. Eddie! Thank you for nothing. This part of the level here, I do tend to die a lot on because I tend to try to rush it when rushing is not the thing you want to do. As it happens, rushing is really bad here. But I do always want to rush, and I'm not going to rush today. We're going to make sure we get it. So you want to destroy those 2 blocks. I rushed it. I did. I'm sorry. I just said I wasn't going to rush it, and then what did I do? We don't even get a second shot at Eddie. You know what? Hey, it's not that good, I guess. I was gonna say, you can use the charged Mega Buster to clear a whole row of these blocks out, but... oh, well. We're not gonna rush it this time. We're really not. We're really, for real, not. Ah, made it. Just barely, but we made it. Just barely is okay. Just barely is enough. I really should have made a promise to myself that I was going to charge as little as possible so as not to ruin the music, but turns out, like, just force a habit. I'm charging a lot more often than I was expecting. Fine. See ya. So this game's other innovation is the full screen pause menu, which looks pretty nice. Instead of just covering half the screen and like Mega Man 1, 2, and 3 would actually remove the sprites because of the way the pause menu drew itself on screen, which kind of looked bad. And then you had some situations where the color palette of the level would overwrite parts of the menu. Like there's one screen in Wily's Castle in Mega Man 3 that I'm sure you saw. I didn't comment on it, but I'm sure you saw it. But the color palette is such that when you open the menu, the background of the menu is black, so you can't see if you're missing health out of any of your weapons. Weapons have health. They do. They have health plans. They have to go to the hospital. Shoutouts to John B. and James for sponsoring this video, and to everyone who makes this channel possible by supporting me on Patreon.